welcome to this episode or this edition or this show of the Straight Shooters. My name is Todd Braley.
And I'm Itai.
And today we have a very special guest with us.
Our
very first interview. And lo and behold, it is, I will say it, my oldest child, my son, Jayden Braley. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Jay a little for the next little while about how he got into video production and kind of dabbling his foot into filmmaking and all the music videos, and just kind of how he got started with what he does for a living, kind of almost following in his father's footsteps. Footsteps. Oh, so anyway, we'd like to thank everybody for watching. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
And
like,
comment.
share, subscribe, and comment. There you go. And
eventually we'll release that as a single.
No, like, share, subscribe, and comment.
And comment. Yeah.
And comment. Gotcha. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get rolling here. So I'll let Itai ask the first question so it doesn't look like I'm playing favorites.
Yeah, because clearly we don't do that around here.
No.
Nah, it's I think our viewers would be interested. I don't think it's it's even an issue,
right?
Because actually over the last couple of days I've had a chance to kind of look over your work, Jayden. Papa here sent me all the links and everything, so yeah, I had a look at a lot of especially the music videos I checked out, which was
that's my main thing. For sure.
Yeah, I figured, and I kind of went into that, had a look. Very, very interesting. But before, I guess we get into all of that, why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, about Graze Media, about how you got started, and when'd you first get behind the camera?
Well, technically, I've been behind the camera since like birth, practically. So I mean,
the camera as well.
In front of
been an uncomfortable birth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like I've had no choice whatsoever, and that's not a bad thing at all. It's just something that was bound to happen, and I love it. So I mean, I've always really enjoyed making like the fun videos as a kid. In fourth grade. My friend Emily and I used to make all kinds of like little shorts together, like just silly shorts, and it was when, what was it? It was kind of near like the beginning of YouTube. And I remember her telling me about it one day. She's like, "Oh my God, I found this thing where you can upload, your own videos and all that." And I'm like, "Wow, okay, then let's make some shorts." And we made a lot of like stop motion stuff with our Star Wars. Like I would bring over all of my Star Wars action figures. She was a big Star Wars fan as well, and we would just make all these like silly little movies and stuff. And so it was kind of, I was definitely a YouTube kid, because once I found that, it never ended.
I was introduced to YouTube via Jay.
Yes.
Jay is the one that told me about this thing called YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I was introduced because of my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after he stole all your toys to make videos.
Yeah. All of my toys.
Well, I actually, since we're going down memory lane, I have my very first ever video camera that still technically works. I just cannot find the charger. It's a little Canon ZR-8 830 or something. And this is what I made all my projects with, all my school projects, my little side projects as a kid, like everything. So like, I mean, it was just bound to happen. And I think like what got me into music videos was literally just watching music videos nonstop. I mean, when it comes down to it, like music is my thing. You know, I've always been absolutely in love with it. And I remember when MTV actually played music videos and I would watch said music videos, you know, and then when YouTube became a thing and then, you know, other bands and stuff started uploading their stuff to YouTube, it just, I couldn't stop. The obsession just grew and went from there. So, yeah. But I mean, technically, first I got into photography. So it all started out as Gray's Photography back in like 2009, I think, with this camera. Actually, it's my first, like, you know, step up from this. Actually, it didn't take videos or anything, but it took pictures and started that. And, you know, it was just
And which
fun
one,
stuff.
which camera is that?
This is the Canon Rebel
Canon?
XSI.
Oh, Canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this little guy right there.
I think I have one very similar to that.
Yeah. This was a pretty
But mine
good
does
model.
video as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what started it, and just started with doing like photo shoots with friends and family, and just thinking I'm the most badass person ever. I've got it on auto. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's gonna be perfect every time. You know? Like, oh Lord. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some good pictures of the old collection of pictures, but literally my first paying client. This is a fun thing. My first paying client for Gray's Photography was my 6th grade teacher's assistant and his family. Randomly enough, they like hired me years later after I left that school, and yeah, hired me. I did a family photo shoot for him and his family. So, shout out James.
Why don't you tell everybody where the name Grays came from?
Why does everyone have to ask that? It is not this big deep thing. It literally came from my semi-temporary obsession with Grey's Anatomy. Like the show Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, oh, I don't know.
Anatomy, photography, it all worked.
Yeah, literally.
Gray's Photography. Photography. Yeah, that makes more sense because Gray's Media, it doesn't translate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that it comes from that, but Gray's Photography.
Exactly. So
I have to say, I've never seen an episode.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's okay.
It's not horrible. It's kind of one of the faves that float around that, in fact, I think Angie is watching it via
my girlfriend loves it.
She's a
yeah.
Oh, does she? Yeah. We liked it until season 7, and then after season 7 we gave up.
Isn't it still going?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on like season 5,000. I don't even know what it's on anymore. I stopped watching it. Got annoying. All the good characters like left, and I'm like, never mind. This is
when you changed the name to media from photography, you were like, that's it. I'm not watching this show anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Gave up on the show.
I'm done.
Forget it. I'm out.
I'm done with this.
But yeah,
So,
so I mean,
it's as good a reason as any for a name, you know, for a business name.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything else in the moment. I'm just like, screw it. Gray's Photography, we're rolling with it. And now I'm kind of stuck with it. So
yeah, because that's what you eventually have to do, you know, to get started. You just have to go, you know what, this is it. That's the name.
Yep.
I mean, we had a different name even for this show, and we changed it just before we started. The Straight Shooters. You know what? The Straight Shooters. Yeah.
Yeah, that works. I really like that better. Better than thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah. Well, I'm stuck with my indie productions for my company. You know, it's like I initially thought, you know, that's cool. You know, that says everything that my company is about. Now I have to tell people all the time, it's one word, my indie. It's not my indie, and I'm like, oh, I should have gone with a different name, like Infinity Media Productions or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my indie productions is I like it because it's like, especially like the first 2 words are like one word. You know, they kind of squishes together. And when I remember Dad showed me like started mentioning you like a long time ago, and when I first saw the logo for it, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah,
Thanks.
My 2 cents, just this little 2 cents.
It's a completely amateur thing. I started this with an ex partner in the company, still a good friend of mine, Saf Angel, and we just had to come up with a logo, and much like you're saying about Gray's photography, we kind of played with logos and then decided, you know what, this is it. We like this font, we like the colors, this is what we're going for. Bang,
it's
done.
Simple,
done.
It fits on a business card.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
I know, but this is like made the grays big, and then made the
there's multimedia now.
Yeah,
not just media.
Not just media.
Multimedia.
Jeez, what's next?
Everything.
Where do you go from here?
Oh, dude. Well, I had to make multimedia
Quadromedia.
because I do so many different things. Like I make music videos. I, take pictures. I create flyers. Once every blue moon, I don't like to do this very often because I'm not that good at it. I create logos for people. Like I just do a bunch of different things. So I figured, okay, well, if it's multimedia, it's the possibilities are endless, and it's not just Gray's photography.
So hey, that's like, my tagline. Leave it alone.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything to do with camera and also graphic design.
Yeah. So like graphic design isn't my main thing, but it's not
your passion,
but you're damn good at it. That's one thing I will say, not saying as a father, but as somebody who works on stuff like that as well.
Just say it as an uncle.
Okay. All right. As your uncle, I want to say that it's really good, really inventive, very imaginative. How's that? Does that work?
Yeah. Like a proud uncle.
And not my fault.
Not my fault.
I have to say there's something about graphic design that, even if it's not your passion, your love, or whatever, when you sit down to design something and it frustrates the crap out of you, when you're done and you have something good, the feeling of pride is pretty there. It's amazing. You look at it and you go, hey, I made this.
Mm-hmm. Well,
this came out of my mind. That's
no,
cool.
Exactly. Like recently, I just started. I acquired an older iPad, and I started just kind of doodling. There's like a sketch app on it or something. And what I love about it is now I can do my own title animations for music videos. So I started doing that. And I even started doing like little custom portraits. Like this one artist, she's a local artist, amazing. Shout out Fran. She actually commissioned me to make her basically a picture of her, right? And then we have a pin maker at home. So I made her, this isn't it, but I made her a little pin like this. So that's not the picture of her at all. That's something else completely. But, so I started doing that too. And I'm like, okay, well, now I can add this to my resume. Like, hey, you want a custom picture and pin done? Like, got it. But
you must know that your dad's been pimping out all these pins for a while now.
I know.
Since we started.
The Empire Records pins.
I'll let you in on a little secret. When I was probably, say, early teenage years, I used to collect pins. Back then, I was, heavily into music, and my taste was all over the place. I liked hard rock, but I also liked some pop.
Yep.
Michael Jackson, I had like a ton of Michael Jackson pins, and next to, AC/DC and, all kinds of stuff. So I put them all on this shirt. The whole collection was like all on a shirt, and I hung it up in my room. And I think I still have it somewhere, all these years later.
Who has my old pin collection?
I do. I have his Motley Crue pins. Like I think I have a couple of those. I have a couple of Ozzy pins. Like
but does he have a Culture Club pin? Well, I do.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, you know what? This interview is over. Goodbye.
I should do a mic drop. Do you have Wham? Do you have a Wham pin? George Michael, yeah.
No, I don't have a Wham pin. I do like Wham though.
I think I stole that off my brother, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man,
he doesn't remember this. He doesn't watch this show either, so I'm safe.
you'll never know.
So why don't you talk about what because when you were younger and you used to come out for your summertime visits, we would always do some kind of video project. And so let's talk a little bit about those video projects, because that was kind of our thing when we got together.
The tradition.
It was awesome. A tradition. Yeah.
Yep. My dad and I never had something like that in common. It's like, we had our stuff, but not something we both created together or anything. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I think I didn't realize that wasn't a common thing, like in the moment, because I would come back and like, tell my friends and show them like what we did and all this stuff. And I'm like, isn't that like, this is cool, huh? And they're like, wow, my parents don't do that. And I'm like, what? Like I got so like, I guess spoiled isn't really the word, but I got so used to it. Like that was a common thing that it didn't really click until later that wasn't something that people did with their parents, at least like, doing creative stuff like that together. I mean, I'm sure there are, kids out there that did it, but I always thought it was super fun. And I don't even know what the first thing we made was. Like we used to make our own music videos, but like for other songs. And so we would literally make our own.
We did one for Hanson.
Yeah.
Hanson's Where's
was
the
it
Love?
Mbop?
No.
Yes, it was Mbop.
It was not.
No. Oh,
Where's the Love?
Where's the Love? That's it. Yep. Where's the love? It's not enough.
Yeah. And then we did.
Did you act out like in this thing?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Me and Beth, my stepsister at the time, we were the band. We went around.
You were Hanson.
We were Hanson. Oh yeah. No, we were badass. Like we walked off our set and we were like, yeah, no. Okay, where's the contracts?
Where's my trailer?
So the question there is, are any of these videos on YouTube?
Actually, they were all taken down, but I will
copyright.
I will put. Yep. They were up there for a really long time, and then when YouTube really dug their feet in with the copyright thing, they pulled the Hanson one down. They pulled the Good Charlotte one down, and I think we only did a couple of music videos.
I think those are the only two that come to mind.
Right. The other stuff we did short film. Jay came up with the idea for was called
Molly
Dolly, which honestly could fall in line with creating something that could be a franchise if we did it right. Yeah, Angie's over there going, oh yeah, you could totally do that.
Because it was creepy. I mean, it was what? How long is the actual movie? Like 10 minutes?
7 minutes. It's about 7 minutes. Yeah.
And it was, I mean, literally, it all came with the fact that I had found, I don't even know if it was mine, if it was someone else's, but I found this doll. It was the creepiest thing. It was a smiley face that had a little dress on and like pigtails. And you would literally press it and it would go, like it was creepy. And I found it and I was just like, I think we got to do something with this. Like that mixed with a story, like a scary story that someone I knew had told me. So it's like, we kind of based it like loosely off of this story. I don't even remember the actual story. And then just ran with it. And it was a little creepy. It was not,
it was weird. You know what I think I'll do? I'll put it at the end of this episode because we can get away with it on YouTube.
Except for the final song and the Viva La Bam theme song. That was
yeah. Okay, well,
it's so dated.
I'll mute that, but yeah. But it's actually it if we would have been able to slip some blood in there, because my then wife would not allow me to use fake blood, and so
I thought you were going to say real blood for a second.
well, that came later.
Yeah.
But if we would have been able to add some blood to this thing, it would have been really, really, really creepy. And Jay came up with this idea. Is like, Dad, okay, I got my movie idea. We're not doing a music video this time. We're going to do this movie. I have this movie. It's called Molly Dolly, and explained it to me. And then, because, this kind of visual capability didn't exist yet. So when we were on the phone, he pushed the stomach on this thing to make it laugh. And I just went, that is stupid creepy. And I said, what does it look like? And he explained the doll. And I was like, oh my God. So when we came up with the idea, Jay had the script handwritten out. It was
probably all the misspelled words. I still can't spell correctly even now. I have the handwriting of a serial killer.
or a doctor.
Yep.
Which is the same thing, really. But
came out with this handwritten script. I think there was like 5 or 6 pages. One-sided.
This was this before smartphones?
Yes.
Oh yeah. This is like what, 2003, 2004?
Yeah, you're saying describe the doll to me. It's like today it's just like click, there it is. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. No, I had to wait until I went to pick him up to know what it actually looked like. And when he got in the car, I said, so where's this doll? And he pulled this doll out, and I went, yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
because it's a smiley face with arms and legs. Doesn't sound scary.
It doesn't sound scary until the laugh.
I wonder if I can find it. I still have the doll somewhere. I couldn't tell you where, but I know I didn't get rid of it. Let's see, smiley. Well, I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of it.
I'll put that movie at the end of the just before the end credits and let it roll. And I think people will enjoy that.
A treat for our viewers.
There you go. There you go.
Dude, I found it. What? Caps Toys Inc. Laughing. This is the thing of nightmares. That is, dude. I can't believe I found it.
The killer doll.
Oh, dude. Literally put in smiley face doll with pink dress. Laughs when pressed. You know, I love Google sometimes. It makes it so easy to find stuff.
Well,
that is awesome.
So yeah, that was one of our first movies, and I ran the camera, and Jay directed and told me he directed the actors, and when he didn't know what to do, he's like, "Hey, what do I do here?" And I'm like,
did we get insurance for this shoot?
Literally, no.
Absolutely not. This was stupid low budget.
What kind of budget are we talking about?
Stupid low budget, which is like 10 steps below ultra low budget.
The budget we had was for the outlets that we plugged the lights into the wall. That's about it. Like, all right.
we paid for some electricity.
There we go. That's how we did that. That's how we did that. So
you didn't buy the doll? No, found the doll. It's like, props.
Well, it's funny because I still have. I think I still have the project that I could actually open back up and maybe replace the audio.
I smell a re-edit.
Look out! I'm already doing that with like everything I own. So, all right.
True.
So then what?
So, yeah. What do you consider to be like your like inspirations as far as works you've seen and kind of modeled your art from or on?
It's kind of hard. I will be the first to say I'm horrible with names. So I think like, especially when it comes to like directors' names, like as soon as you name like the movies they've done, I'm like, yeah, that person. I'm just horrible with names in general. So I can't specifically say like I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, it's certain like
that can be a movie or something, or even an image,
movies.
or you know.
Well, I grew up watching a lot of Tarantino, and I know a lot of people just roll their eyes like, oh, Tarantino. But I think when it comes to like the certain style of storytelling that he does, that I quite, you know, personally enjoy. And see, I'm horrible with on the spot stuff sometimes. But a lot of his movies, Pulp Fiction is like probably one of my favorite videos, like movies of like all time and stuff. But like one thing too that really stuck out to me, and this was, you know, this was later on when I was like maybe 14, 15, is the movie, the Pink Floyd's The Wall movie. Like that's just one giant music video. And I think for that, like when I saw that for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's literally a long music video. Like what? Like at that point, I didn't really know that could be a thing. And I think I just obsessed over that like over and over. And I still to this day will have it running as like my background, because I have 2 monitors. So like I'll have my background movie while I'm editing, you know, and that's like 95% of the time that's probably what's on in the background. But definitely stuff like that. I mean, all the Motley Crue music videos, like just, oh man, Kiss music videos. One of the things we used to do a lot too when I would go out there is we would watch the Kiss Symphony video of all the live footage from that. I have that memorized.
Shot
like,
in Melbourne, Australia.
Yep. So I mean, it really just comes down to a lot of different music videos that I watched growing up. I mean, movies too. Obviously, I watched a bunch of movies, but you know, I'd say for a more recent inspiration, he's not like brand new, but there's this dude, Cole Bennett. He's the creator of Lyrical Lemonade, and he does a lot of like kind of cool, kooky music videos, you know, that just kind of like, I feel like he pushes the limits of what he can do with these videos. And it's, I don't know, they're just super fun to watch, and they're always like super colorful and just kind of crazy ideas, you know. So I feel like he also kind of inspired me a bit, which is funny because he's actually like 2 or 3 years younger than I am, but he started like really early on and just blew up because he's super talented. But yeah, I think those are the few things that come to mind. I don't know. That's
pretty awesome. I mean, it kind of, you know, explains, because again, like you said, your main thing is really music videos. And obviously, you know, you have a massive passion for that, which is it's very cool. You know, it's always good to start from there rather than, I just want to do something to make some money and I found out I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Being actually,
which is a lot of people that do this. It's kind of scary that they don't love it, but and I know people like that. It's like, I do this because I'm good at it and I can make a living at it, but I could take it or leave it, which to me, I don't know, to me, I live for this. I live for it, you know. I mean, it makes me mad sometimes, and it gets me, you know, clients will make you cranky, and, you know, your thought process sometimes will stall out. And no matter how many times I quit, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I get those phone calls from Jay occasionally. It's like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Oh, la, 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 la.
I'm going to be an accountant.
Literally. Oh, dude,
no,
I am horrible with numbers. World's worst accountant. Oh my God, I'd be so bad at that. But what, you know, what's funny? This is like super, not super off topic, but another thing that did come to mind about what kind of inspired me for this is, back in like 2000, like between 2006 and 2012, I was actually a part of like the official, I don't know if you know the band Black Veil Brides, but I was a part of their like official fan club. Like me and a group of friends kind of like helped run
like
some
the
of
band
stuff.
knew their names.
Yeah, like
That's how
like,
super
that's how
fans.
into it.
yeah, literally. And like I got to be on, what was it? I think I was at least 2 of their music video sets, and technically I'm
wow.
in them, but one is just, it's a crowd of people and you can't even see me, and the other one I had a mask on, so I can't even be like, yeah, that's me. But so I kind of grew up with them.
I'm the one in the Molly Dolly mask.
Basically. Exactly. But you know, so I was around them, and you know, as a teenager, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, you know. So we went to, they had a what they called it their black carpet event for the release of their first album, and it was actually at Tony Alba's old skate shop on Fairfax in Hollywood, and it was in that shop. So like I still have pictures on my very, very old
yes,
hard.
my child knows who Tony Alva is.
Yes, I do. But I mean, that was just the coolest thing. And I have pictures from that night. So I got a lot of like BTS of a lot of their shows, a lot of the events that we went to. Like, so, you know, that was my teenage life, which looking back, I'm like, damn, I don't think I appreciated it as much as I should have. But that also like really sparked that thing. Like, okay, I already knew I loved music, but then getting to be on big shoots. I mean, one of them was for their song Perfect Weapon, and I think the other one was Coffin or something. I think it was one of theirs. But you know, like it was just really, really cool just to see that. I mean, the dude, I think his name was Patrick Fogarty. He was the director of both music videos, and just kind of seeing how he works and chatting with him for like a quick second. Like I remember walking into the warehouse when they shot Perfect Weapon. It was the same warehouse that they shot their like biggest music video for Knives and Pens. We walked in there. I was like, oh my God. Because it had different sections. You know, there's like the white, you know, kind of curved background, the black one. I think they had a green screen area. And I was like, they shot it over there. Just total fanboy moment. And, you know, so I think that for sure kind of jump started that. Yeah, it was just, it came to mind. I'm like, okay, no, there was another thing though. Like I know it was that. So yeah.
It's funny because as you're talking about it, like my wheels are turning, and it's like we have, I think, these stages, you know, that make us understand that, you know, being an artist is kind of who we are. This is, you know, in different things. It starts off from being exposed to something and go, oh, you know, I really like this. Mm-hmm. And then you watch more of it, whether it's films or, you know, I mean, we watched, you know, tons of early MTV and loved, you know, music videos and music and everything. And then you kind of get exposed to how these things are created.
Yeah.
You know, so for you, it was, you know, playing around with short films and videos and whatever with your dad and being on this set, you know. I mean, I don't know about you, Todd, but for me, one of the big things was actually watching these Robert Rodriguez, you know, how to, you know, in 10 steps or whatever it was,
10 minute film school.
10 minutes,
he put those on every one of his.
Right. Yeah.
Every one of his movies, he's got a 10-minute film school.
Yeah, I remember I hired them from, you know, these things that don't exist anymore called video libraries. And just to watch, I didn't watch the movie. You know, I got the Spy Kids movies, didn't watch them. I watched the 10-minute film school. Yeah. And at that stage, I haven't made anything yet, you know, and I was like, this is interesting. I want to give that a try. So I actually watched, you know, got onto somebody else's set just to have a look. And I went, you know what? I can do this. And I think, you know, you need to reach that point. It's like you go through all these stages. And like you said, for you, you were on this set and you see this and you go, this is so cool. But at some point it seeps into your brain that you can actually do this.
Really,
and then you
do
go,
this.
yeah, exactly. And my good friend at the time, he's passed away recently, but Peter Angel, he said to me, you feel like making a movie? Writing a script, he said at first, for a short film, just for fun. So we did that. We wrote the script, and then we went, okay, how are we gonna make this film? And we basically used all these 10-minute film school tips and bits and pieces. And we got online, which was sort of early days of the internet. Not many forums out there, but there were some, and we hooked up with the right people, and got this set together and just made a film for fun.
Yep.
Ended up looking at it afterwards and going, hey, we can really do this. We should do more. Funnily enough, after that, he started a family and got away from it, and I just went and did something else completely. But eventually, I think it sticks in your brain. And a few years later, I just went, hey, I think I'm going to go to film school and see what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's funny how I think it's always there for us. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Well, I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I can't tell you how many phases I went through when I was trying to figure out what in the hell I wanted to do with my life. I had my first job was at Panera Bread, so that was like, and I hated that. I worked as a couple of other things. I did my own, like, kind of my own side thing of just kind of, it was called Let Me Help You With That. And it was just like, hey, whatever you need help with, I'm here. If you need help setting up this thing.
That was a badass idea. That was pre, like, Grubhub,
Yeah. Well, literally, I help people clean their houses, their garages. I did. I was a delivery driver for a personal chef that used to live right down the street from me. Like, almost anything.
Delivered food to Logan Paul
and
on
Jake
a regular
Paul.
basis.
Yeah, so much so that I were in a video. I was in a couple videos of his vlogs. And when I first started delivering to him, he only had like 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. He was just kind of getting to it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, compared to like what he has, like 12 million now or something. But like he had just started, and I saw him kind of rise up from that, and it was just kind of crazy. But I mean, like, just doing all these small other jobs until it was literally sitting right here in front of my eyes, and I kick myself to this day. I am 28 years old. Am I 28? I think I'm 28. Yeah, I think
you're 28.
But it took this long. It wasn't until the end of 2018 where I was finally like, maybe I could really do this. And I upgraded, not from this, but from my old because after the Canon Rebel, I got the T3. So I updated from that to a 70D, and I was like, screw it. I'm gonna really try to do this. And the first music video I ever made, which I think is hilarious because it was good at the time. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we had a lot of fun, the heart was there. But I look back at that video and I cringe. But to this day, it is the most viewed music video I have ever put out to date. It has currently 20,424 views. And I'm just like, first off, how? Second, and I'm like, thank God I had, because technically there was a break in between Gray's Photography and Gray's Multimedia, and for like 2 seconds I had Street Rap Productions. So Gray's anything is not associated with it in any way, shape, or form, and I'm kind of happy about that, because I'm like, oh Lord. Like, literally when we shot it, I downloaded Final Cut Pro, the 30-day free trial, to edit it, because all I had was iMovie, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. It's going to have all these effects, because in my mind, I didn't really realize that you had to go and buy these extra LUTs and transitions and all that. I'm just like, no, it's gonna have everything. This is gonna be the greatest music video ever. And I open it up and I'm like, why is there just like,
man, where's my shit?
There's like black and white and that's about it. Like, what? But yeah, I just think that's pretty funny. That's my first video.
Let me put it in perspective for you. You think that you got there late. I got started with just writing a script and making a short film for fun when I was 30.
Okay, now I don't feel bad.
Exactly.
Okay, this is awesome. This is great.
I went to film school at 36. It was just like, all right, I've gone through life. I've done all these things like you talk about, all these different jobs. I was like a gas station attendant at one point. I worked in these factories. It was more summer jobs. Once I started getting into like almost career type stuff, I was a personal trainer for like 6 years. Because at that stage, you just don't know what you are meant to do or what you want to do with your life, and you have to get there. But eventually, I just realized, I can't run away from it anymore. This is what I love. This is what I love. This is what I'm passionate about. Exactly. So I was like, okay, let's try film school. See if that takes me, more into it, or makes me want to go, fuck this. I'll do something else.
Yeah.
And once I started, to the day people ask me, why filmmaking? Why are you filmmaking? I say, I just don't have any choice. I'm a storyteller. I have all these ideas and they need to come out, or I'm going to end up in a mental institution. So
yeah,
that's really the choice. But, for me, like it started, what I consider to be fairly late. And people tell me, oh, there's no such thing late, you get there when you get there, and age is not an issue.
Gene Hackman didn't get his first part till he was almost 40 years old. Yeah. Ridley Scott and Tony Scott both started they'd been directing commercials forever, but Ridley Scott and Tony Scott didn't get their first feature films until they were in their 40s.
It depends on a lot of things, because working on a set, especially as a director, let's say within certain budgets, I think the bigger your budgets are, the less you have to do physically. But age does come into it, because it's long days. It's not easy. So when you get older, it gets harder. I used to do on my own sets. I used to do boom, and I used to do all kinds of other stuff and move equipment around. Today, I'm like, no. I need to concentrate on working with my actors. Otherwise, it shows, so I need to get other people to do other things. Obviously, you got to pay them. So budgets, this, that, the other. But you look at people like Woody Allen, he's like nudging 90, he's in his 80s, this guy, and he's still making films. I don't think he lifts a piece of paper on set, but who cares? He writes the scripts, he gets these projects done. I don't know how many films
Woody Allen,
I have. Yeah, but I'm saying I don't know how many films I have left in me, but obviously it's less than what it would have been if I would have started when I was 20.
Right.
But
and I've been making,
no crying over spilled milk. Who cares? We got to make as much as we can make from now on.
And I've been
you've been 28
since I was 10. To be able to find some of those movies. So what I want to hear about is the evolution from music videos to the evolution of your music videos, because I've seen every single one of them, even the ones that were never released. So tell us a little bit. Well, he's got some of these artists that, for whatever reason, one reason or another, they just didn't release. It's not that they didn't like the music videos. I don't know. Explain that, Jay.
Well, some artists that I work with, some are like super eager to like, okay, we got to get this out. Like as soon as it's done, they're like, I'm releasing it now. And I'm like, sweet, awesome. And some artists, they wait a little bit. Sometimes, because especially if it's a newer song that's not out yet, they usually wait for the song to release first and then they release the video. And some artists, they kind of just want to sit on it for a bit for whatever reason. which, you know, I totally, I understand, you know, at the end of the day, it's their video. Sometimes it can be like just ever so slightly disappointing because I'm like super proud of it, you know, and I want to show everyone like, look, you know, and like one of the things I've talked to another buddy of mine who does music videos is it's kind of, sometimes it sucks for the person who shot it, because depending on how long someone waits to release a music video, you could have changed equipment by then, you could have improved a lot by then, so that by the time it comes out, your whole style could be different, your whole setup could be different. And it's kind of like, at that point, it's like, do I really want to even advertise that I did this video? You know, like I have probably, I don't even know in total, but at least 5 or 6 unreleased music videos from over the years where it's either not going to happen or hopefully it'll happen at some point. And, you know, I'm fine with that. Like I used to get a little salty over it, but I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, okay, you know what? They release it, great. If they don't, great. You know, at the end of the day, we still made something cool. And
you can always put it on your reel.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I usually end up asking, you know, because there's especially last year's reel when I was putting it together, a couple of videos weren't out yet. So I reached out to the artists. I was like a couple of different artists. I was like, hey, like, is it okay? Like, I know the video isn't out yet, but can I use just like some of, you know, a couple of cool shots from it just to put it in my reel? And most of the time they say yeah. So if they say yes, I do it. If not, I leave it out. But yeah, I mean, it happens. Every artist you work with is different. And, you know, some people just do things on at their own time, I guess, or whatever the wording for that is.
Now, what about in creating videos, what you did, you know, say 2 years ago versus what you're doing now, you know, in regards to lighting and that kind of thing?
Well, when I first started out, didn't have any kind of lighting whatsoever. It was literally just run and gun music videos, you know, which is in the moment, it seems super cool. But now I think I've gotten spoiled now that I have, because I still don't have a huge lighting setup, but I have just enough for the majority of the artists I work with are usually like a single person artist. I've only ever worked with a band, like a full band, only a handful of times. So, you know, the little bit of lighting I have works, but like when it first started out, it was just nothing but run and gun, you know, like, oh, hey, there's this really cool abandoned spot, or hey, there's like this cool graffiti over here, you know, and it was just kind of scouting locations and, you know, stuff like that. And I think especially starting like mid to late last year, I really kind of took a step back and I'm like, okay, I can see the improvement in my videos, but what can I do now to level them up even more? And I just kept looking and looking, and I would look at other music videos by other people, and I'm like, lighting. I know nothing about lighting. I should probably start to figure it out. So, you know, I got tips from my dad. I got a bunch of tips from just watching endless hours of YouTube videos of other people's suggestions. And a lot of them was like how to do lighting on a budget, you know, and eventually I was able to get like the lighting system that I have now, and it works like a charm. I mean, I've done fairly big production music video sets with just the few lights that I have, and I can see the difference, and it makes me so happy because I feel like, you know, I was telling my dad this, I think not that long ago, is I feel like my videos are starting to look the way that they do in my head. Like, it's finally, because I was always saying like, God, what is it? And, you know, knowing my camera through and through and knowing what it's capable of and having lighting and just overall, you know, kind of just studying the art a little bit more, I feel like they're starting to look the way I've always wanted them to look, you know. And I'm just seeing that progression from run and gun to, you know, actual productions and stuff, you know, with music videos. And also, I mean, it's also speaking for itself by how much like work has gone up for me compared to last year. You know, like I think other people are starting to see it too, and they're like, oh, like we should work. And I'm like, yes, we should. You know, so but yeah.
Well, and
when they come to you with a project, do you deal with everything with that clip, like the concept, you know, the look of it and all the rest of it, or do they come to you sometimes with a concept that they want, and you have to make that happen, or do you get more of
both? A little bit of both. Like it depends on who I'm working with. Some people, I mean, there's clients where every time I've done a video for them, they've had the concept in mind and they're like, hey, let's do this. I kind of want it. They'll send me other reference videos. I kind of want it to look like this, you know, da, 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 da. And then, but other times, you know, I'll either write the concept myself, or I'll sit down, write like an outline, and then send it to them, and then we'll build from it with each other. Like a lot of the times I'll have meetings with people and be like, this is awesome, but can we do this? And you know, that's kind of what happened with this music video I shot back in, I think, March. You know, I came up with this, you know, kind of just silly concept, and from there, like, me and the band just completely went off the rails with it. And it's that video is coming out late for We Are Makers, the band. We Are Makers.
All right. Yeah.
I don't want to say too much about it because it's not out yet, but it's coming out next month, and that one was just so fun. We had like 15 people that day. You know, we have like a little skit at the beginning and the end, and even technically during. You know, so and all. Going back to the question, I know I kind of trail off sometimes, but going back to the question, it really just like depends on, yeah. It just depends on the client. But at any point in time, I'm completely down to come up with the concept, and I love doing that. And but you know, yeah, that's
and his outlines, when he puts those outlines together, I've seen them, you know, and it's the detail, the attention to detail that he has in there now versus, you know, even just, you know, a year and a half or so ago, was kind of, it's impressive to see these outlines. And so, you know, I can sit there and say proud papa, but at the same time, you know, the kid is, I feel he's surpassed what I'm able to do, because his mind is creative. We planted this seed, and it's pretty amazing to watch him work. Now, occasionally, you know, I'll get a phone call with, you know, oh, I got to do this thing and I'm not sure how to do it, but I don't get them very often. And that for me, is cool, because that means his confidence level
going up,
is raising. So it's really cool to watch, you know, not only as a parent, but just as, I don't know, kind of a pseudo mentor to when your student surpasses you. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, technically with today's kids, let's call it, we don't stand a chance, you know. With the technology the way it's gone, it's like, to us it's very, very difficult to keep up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they pick it up and run with it. It's just crazy. But
well, they grew up with it. We're learning it as it's coming in, and they had grasped it at a young age. And that, you know, there's the SpongeBob brain, you know, with these kids. And so, you know, I can see that with Jay. So
it's like it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of kids, they pick up on the tech part, but they kind of forget about the storytelling part,
Yeah.
which
not
is
this
kind of
one.
where we come in.
Not
Yeah,
this
that's
one.
what I was going to say.
This one.
At your age, you're kind of sort of an in-betweener of those two generations, but also you have the influence that you've had at home. From filmmaking to music, you were exposed to things that other kids your age weren't.
Exactly.
So storytelling is a big thing. It's like, when you think about it, music videos are really like short films, and the better ones are the ones that tell a story. They're always more interesting. They're always more of an event. I remember when Michael Jackson used to release videos, it was an event because he always told some kind of a story, Thriller and even other ones like Remember the Times and all that. There's all this, he invented the story behind the song just for the video. Smooth Criminal,
Exactly. And that's something that I still love to this day, because, a lot of bands kind of stopped doing that, I feel like, for a little bit, and it was just nothing but performance shots and B-rolls, which is cool, but it's nice to kind of mix in a story every once in a while.
I definitely agree with that.
Those were always my favorite music videos, not just to watch, but when I got to make a handful of music videos. There was a guy that I did something for a few years ago, and he wanted to recreate some of the cooler scenes from Scarface, and we got to do some of those, and that was some of the most fun music video, probably one of the funnest music videos that we got to do outside of the Great White video, which
that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Jay,
that led to my next question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell us about that experience. I mean, we never hear the end of it, from your dad. It's like, I shot this Great White video. It's like, oh my God, enough already. I'm joking, but it was very very cool to hear that you were also part of that experience.
Talking about it and give back all those guitar picks that I got for you.
No, I joke, but yeah, I was a pretty big Great White fan myself. So I remember when your dad told me that he shot this video, I was like, holy crap, how did you get that gig? That is awesome.
Wild. It was super fun, and I'll be the first to say I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I listened to Great White all my life, because the truth is I didn't. I knew like 2 songs by them, and that was that. But when my dad and I would listen to music, our top 3 were Kiss, Motley Crue, and Ozzy. And that was like the main 3, at least when it was us, so, but I knew of Great White and I thought it was kind of cool, but I feel like I went in there with a little bit of like a different perspective than everyone else, and not a better one by any means. That's not at all what I'm trying to say, but I think it was like, I could kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Like I went in not really knowing them, but I left feeling like, okay, well, this didn't even feel like it was a music video experience. It felt like we just kind of became a part of like a family, because everyone just kind of welcomed us in with open arms. And, I got to really know these people outside of the 2 songs that I knew, and I bonded with Mark's wife, like Bridget. She's super duper cool. Like,
Mark Kendall.
Like Mark Kendall. Yeah. And him and I were talking about all that. Like one of the times we went out to dinner, all of us together, and we were talking about stuff. So it was really cool to just kind of hang out with them. And it was work, but at the same time, it didn't feel like work most of the time, because everyone was just having a good time, And
the only time it felt like work was humping equipment. That was the only time it really felt like work, was just dragging equipment in the house. And because we shot in the house, and we shot the humping the equipment at the club was That sucked because
That-
the elevator was broke.
Dark. Oh, dude, it was so bad. But it was still that part was a bit heavy, but the rest of it was just really cool, and I feel like when I left that day, I'm like, okay, I could say I'm a Great White fan in a different sense, because I'm one of those people that I'm like, okay, if I don't listen to a band, I'm not going to wear a shirt by them. I'm not going to wear a sweater, because God forbid someone comes up to me and they're like, name me 5 songs. I'm not going to do it. I'm not good under that kind of pressure. I'm like,
yeah. Once
so,
bitten, twice shy. And
rock me, and after that I don't know.
you can do what I do. You can just start naming songs by other bands, but they won't know, so they won't call you up on it.
Exactly. Be like, well, what song's that? I'm like, oh, it's so rare. Clearly you don't even know, so you're not a real fan.
Because I mentioned Todd and the Great White video and all that to a friend of mine, and he went, oh yeah, they're a cool band. They had that When the Children Cry song. I'm like, that's White Lion.
Dude, that was White Lion.
Close enough. Close enough.
I mean, that was cool. When I got that gig via my friend Paul McPhee, he was like Jayden. Jayden has this buddy Mickey. What's Mickey's last name?
Mickey Hargraves.
Mickey and Paul were both part of the Hollywood metal scene, or the Southern California metal scene, for during the 80s. And my buddy Paul McPhee was buddies. I mean, he knows them all, and so he got a hold of me and said, hey man, just FYI, you're going to get a phone call from Mark Kendall from Great White, and you're doing their next music video. And he says, and you're also going to help me put together their new album cover. He says, I'm doing some of the artwork. He said, but I need somebody with Photoshop experience to piece together everything that I'm going to give you. And
so what happened when you regained consciousness?
Yeah, I was blown away, and no more than a half an hour later, I'm talking to Mark Kendall on the phone, and you're trying really hard not to fanboy. Being that, I mean, I had old Great White albums when I was younger. So then when I called, we got the gig and they're going to pay us, and we're going out to California in May. I think it was the second or third week in May. And I was like talking to my buddy, Scott Stewart. He was going to help me shoot it. And I called Jay and I said, hey, we're getting paid to do a music video for Great White. And he was kind of like, Great White. And I said, yeah, once bitten, twice shy. Great White, like 80s band Great White. Yeah. And again, because he took it differently, obviously, but at the same time, I said, look, man, we're going to go out there, and I'm going to need your help to, play grip and gaffer and maybe run a camera every so often. And Jay did probably a quarter of the shooting for the music video, because he helped shoot a lot of the B-roll footage of the band. And he also shot all of the bedroom stuff for the young kid that was playing the guitar. And
I went back like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I went back 2 weeks later because we got back and we were like going, oh, we need some more stuff. And so we paid Jay some more money and called the people whose house we shot at and just said, hey, John, we need to get some more footage. Can my kid come back out there? And so Jay went back out there.
He's at the door right now. Can you open it?
Yeah.
Right. Dude, seriously though. And it's like what? And it's not a short trip, but it was fun, because after that, I mean, I think when I got there, I think they like took me out to dinner afterwards. I was like, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
poor and I'm starving.
I have to say, like, you guys did a great job with that video. But
Thank you.
It's funny, like hearing you. I mean, I've heard stories about this, shoot before, and now hearing you, Jayden, sort of reiterate that. It's really cool to hear that the band were nice people.
Yeah.
They were never like my favorite band, but I really liked listening to their albums. I own a couple of them. I was a big fan of some of their songs, and it's really cool to hear that people that you were a fan of are nice people.
Yeah.
Well,
it's always the best.
Because it could have gone a completely different way if
yeah.
they're all assholes.
Well,
So,
and for a couple of the band members, it did at first. Because the bass player Scott and Audie, the drummer, they were not sold at all on us. They did not want. They wanted to have the guys who did their previous music video. Don't ask me the name of it. I never can remember the name of the song. It's a good video. It's a really good video, but most of it all took place in one spot. And Mark, when Paul talked to Mark, he's like, I got this badass filmmaker that you need to hire to do your next music video. And so yeah.
So after he couldn't do it, they went with you?
Anyway.
Burn!
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so when we went out there, and we were, I dealt mostly pretty much with Mark and his wife, Bridget, at that point for the most part. And then when we got out there, we shot some stuff at Mark's, was it his 60th birthday party? We got some of the party shots at the birthday party. And then the next day we were going to go shoot the band stuff. And then, or the next day we were going to do the nightclub stuff. And then the following day, because we did this over 3 or 4 days. And so we wound up, the day that we shot at the nightclub, and it was morning, and we got up, we shot some stuff outside out in front where the band walked out of the building, and then we went upstairs and to this nightclub area, and there was probably 60, 70 people there at least. There was probably more for the crowd that showed up to be in the video. And I looked at Jay and we were just like, holy shit. And I said, okay, I looked at him, I go, this is how we handle crowds. Went back to the bar. Now, again, mind you, Scott and Audie were not sold on me. And this was something that they told me after we got done with the shoot. I walked over to the bar. We had all of our release forms. And I was like, I used my DJ voice. I clapped my hands and I said, all right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Todd. I am the director of the music video. What we need right now is for everybody to come over here to the bar. There are pens and there are release forms. Please fill out the release forms. There is a folder here. After you filled out your release form, put your release form in the folder. And then do me a favor, go stand over here. Please keep your voices to a minimum. And then I just did all this, and Audie and Scott said that they were standing over in the corner, and Audie looked over at Scott and he goes, yeah, dude, we're good. And I hadn't even shot outside of, a couple of shots outside of the club. We hadn't shot really anything yet. And so that was one thing that was, that we were happy to hear about, that finally the whole band was putting their trust into us to do this for them. And we had a blast. I mean, we were wiped out at the end of each day. we were absolutely obliterated at the end of the day. But Jay moved like I have never seen anybody move, and that was a proud papa moment because he didn't know a lot of the terminology for, you know, a C stand and all that stuff yet.
I didn't know nothing.
And so Scott Stewart, the
just
DP,
just point to the thing and tell me where to put it.
well, Scott
I was the same on my first set, and I was directing.
Oh man, it's like the thing with the super shiny thing. You know?
Well, Scott gave Jay like a 10-minute film school. This is this, and that is that, and this is this, and that is. And then Scott would say, "Hey Jay, do me a favor, go get me the 2K blah 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 with this, and this." And Jay would turn around and start moving, and he'd stop, and then turn back around and go, "Which one was that again?" The black one with the white case. Ah, okay.
Is that the thing with the thingy on top and the swirly thing? Yeah, I got it.
Well, on top of all of that, I have horrible memory. So literally, I will look someone dead in the eye. They will look me dead in the eye. They will tell me exactly what I need to get. I'm like, okay, tell me again. I wasn't really paying attention. You know, dude.
It's like, oh, damn it. Now I got to go through it again. Okay.
Literally, I feel bad for some people.
But it is really, you know, like it's repetition. You know, once you use it, however many times, that's it. You got it. Done. Moving on.
Yep.
And that's how we all learn, I think, you know, on sets and stuff like that. All right. So I guess we have to talk about this one. But you were the DOP cinematographer on the recent shoot of a certain indie director who shall remain nameless, with a film that's coming out hopefully by the end of this year. The Chip. What can you tell us, you know, about you know, the experience of working with such a, you know, taskmaster of a director?
Well, it wasn't anything new, but it was also new because my role had changed. Before I was the sound guy. I, you know, helped do other things. I was very much like a background kind of helper, you know, which, you know,
whatever's needed. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and I'll just interrupt you real quick. Keep in mind too, he came out for the was out here for about half of the shoot for our film You Like to Draw. So he was part of the crew on that as well. So and Scott Stewart was the cinematographer on that. So okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Moving along.
But it wasn't. It was familiar, but also slightly terrifying. I mean, because mind you, my main things are music videos. I love movies, but I would not give up music videos to make movies, and that's just my personal preference because
makes sense.
Oh boy, that's a lot of stuff, you know, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong, I had an absolute blast, but it was like, you know, that was my first time ever being like a DP or cinematographer on a you know, what it was. It's considered a full length feature, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it was a lot of fun, but like it's crazy. You guys already know how tired you are at the end of like a day of filming, right? But what I find crazy,
that day,
yeah, just a little bit. Like, but what I find crazy is when you get in that mode, you can run on 3 hours of sleep, and all of a sudden it's super easy to wake up the next day for the next shoot. You know, like it's just
that
so there is that
and
like,
that fire.
Yeah, even though like my feet hurt, everything, like my neck hurts, my neck, my back, everything hurts. Like, but you still get up and you. So I think I really enjoyed just the cast, the crew. Like we got that shit done in 4 days, 3.5 days.
4 days.
Like,
well,
and
3.5, yeah. Because we had to be out of there. We had to be out of there by 3:00 on
on the
Monday.
last day. Yeah. So it was crazy fun, but we had at one point, I think we had 5 or 6 different cameras going at the same time. So, it had its kind of fun, I would say fun challenges, because it's like, okay, where can we put every camera where the other one's not going to be seen in it, So
Yep.
that was super cool to do. And
well, and 2 cameras, there were most often when we set up those multiple cameras, Jay would be like, okay, now what are we going to do here? Are we going to do this? I would almost always have 2 dolly shots happening simultaneously on top of the other cameras. So at one point we had 7 cameras rolling.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep. I got a picture of that too. Like, I'll send it to you. You can put that right here.
Yeah,
I got a picture of all
circles.
the
He put circles on the pictures.
I circled every single camera.
So
yeah. It was a great experience. I had a lot of fun. It's very much different, and I think I would say a lot more goes into making movies in a sense than music videos. I think because, especially for how obviously longer they are and whatnot, but it's crazy to see the comparison. I mean, because for me, Gray's Multimedia is just me. I don't have a crew. Like, I have people that do help me sometimes, but for the most part, it's just me. So I think what I really was grateful for was the fact that I had a whole team, and I wasn't the one like, oh man, I need this light, I gotta go get it. Oh man, I forgot a battery, I gotta go get it. And I got super spoiled with that, because I had a bunch of shoots planned when I got back, and I was sitting there, I had like a Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada moment where I was like, excuse me, someone go. Nope, I'm by myself. I gotta go.
There's nobody here.
So that was really, I feel, very special to me. And I'm like, damn, this is what it's like to have a crew. This is nice. I need a crew, But
and then on top of that,
Definitely.
he was worried about barking orders. And I'm like, all of these guys that are on this set, with the exception of one person, has done this before. Everybody, including the cast. So this is not new for anybody. I said, so you want something, all you got to do is turn around and look, and depending on who it is you're talking to, I said, it's okay. They're not going to look and go, well, you're a dick. I just said, you tell somebody if you need
it helps to ask nicely, but you have to ask for it. Yeah,
at the same time though, because there were times we were kind of on time crunches, and so I just told Jay, I said, look man, today is gonna be hardcore. We're on a time crunch because of this and this. I said, so if you gotta get pissy with people, I said, it's okay, and none of them will hate you for it. And he didn't have to, but it was pretty cool when I'm talking to the actors, and all of a sudden, kind of back over here, I hear Jay, hey, somebody get me a couple of sandbags and a C-stand in here. And so, I was kind of like,
you're like, my baby's growing up.
It's funny, but it's exactly that.
Yeah. Exactly. And he was so worried about, I think the one thing that calmed him down was the fact that he knew that we were not shooting the movie out of order, with the exception of 3 parts. And
dude,
because
he
was on You Like to Draw, and he's like, okay, we're shooting this and okay, where does this go in the movie? What part is this? So then I get through the script and go, okay, so what we're doing is we shot this 4 days ago. Now we're outside. of what we shot 4 days ago. And so we're going to shoot them coming out of the house and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, God, how do you keep this shit straight? And I'm like,
what's this
well,
blocking crap? No.
Yeah. Well, but for your music videos,
with my
you got a lot of
dyslexia,
blocking.
I'm like,
yeah, but for your music videos, you do a lot of blocking as well, especially this last one that you did at that studio with your big cast and stuff for the band.
The thing is, with music videos, it's a lot more compressed. You know, it doesn't span over like, you know, an hour and a half film. So it's a lot easier to get your head around it. When there's so many different little scenes, it's like you walk in, you shoot someone walking into a door, and then however many days later, you shoot them coming in from the other side. You tend to kind of lose track of things. It's like, where are we?
Yeah.
But I was going to say before, though, you know, you were talking about how different it was with the chip, you know, to shoot it compared to music videos. But the thing is, from the footage that we've seen so far with the trailer and other little bits and pieces, it has a similar aesthetic to a music video.
We kind of talked about that beforehand, though. That's kind of why.
That's really cool. So yeah.
Well, that's when we talked about making the trailer. He was, I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you kind of said go ham on it and almost make it seem like a music video.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, and that's another reason why you're editing it, because I don't want this to look, every project I do, I don't want it to look like the last thing I did. So I will always try and do something different and a different look on everything. Like on this one, we literally had 2 fill lights. Everything else was lit in the room. And those were all, you know, permanent light fixtures. So we didn't, we weren't dragging lights around. I think that was one of the reasons we were able to blow through it so as quickly as we did, and able to set up, you know, 7 cameras at one time, because we set up the lighting and we planned this months in advance, you know, and it was, you know, made sure we had 2 smoke machines in the room, and we all gagged and choked on smoke machine smoke. And it
was a small room. I've never had that happen using a smoke machine before, because you remember I had to take a couple of breaks. I'm like, dude, I'm about to pass the fuck out. Like, can I go outside real quick?
Yeah. But the thing about it was, Jay,
it's like Total Recall.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, you know, give him some air.
Yeah. Get to the chopper. But Jay handled everything, you know. He and I would have our little meeting with the first AD, and I would say, okay, so this is the next shot we're going to do this. We're going to put the camera here. I want to do this. I want to make sure we get shots of this, and this. And I just would say, and then first AD would turn around. All right, guys, here we go. Jay's going to let you know what we're going to do. And then Jay says to the crew, camera here, camera here, camera here. And then I'm talking to the actors going, okay, so this camera is going to be on you. We're going to be right in here, you know? So, and then after it was magic to sit there and watch this kid work, because all I had to say was, and because we had numerous meetings beforehand and we knew exactly how we wanted it to look. And so and he even came out here for a week, and we came out here in the garage and set up I've got video of that too, set up of the poker table, and Angie came out and just pushed chips and threw cards, and Jay ran around with the camera and, okay, well, what about this shot? You know, this one going to work? How's that one? And, you know, it was,
that footage was pretty cool by itself,
Inserts,
though.
yeah.
Just like
You gotta get all these inserts.
Exactly. I ended up using some of those clips in my 2021 director's reel too. I'm like, y'all don't have to know where this is from. No, I told this is definitely from a
Doesn't
music
matter.
video that you've never seen.
It
but
helps
he
that you
was-
didn't have to wait for anyone to send it to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, no shit.
All on my
Oh my god. But I just have to say that, you know, that was definitely, that was a good choice on my part, you know, and I hope that, you know, I got more movie ideas. You know, I would hope that if I called on you to do it again, that you would, and you can tell me no, just FYI. But you know, I would after looking at all the footage, and I think even you, I mean, what was your thought when you're looking, because we would go through everything every night when we got home. So I mean, we got done shooting, I think the latest we got home was like 11:30, and we sat out here in the studio and went through every single take and every single piece of footage. So I mean, what was that like for you to be able to see, and how did you feel about what you were seeing?
It was wild, like, because, you know, obviously you see stuff in the moment, right, when you're shooting, but it's another thing to kind of take a step outside from shooting mode, because you see it, but I feel like you're not really seeing it, you know. And for me, at least that's how it works for me. So to see it, like, you know, playing it back after you're done and everything, it's just like, oh my god, especially stuff where you think like, oh, I don't know if that's gonna, you know, look as good on camera as it did in person, then, and then you see it did work, and you're like, yes, you know, it's kind of,
not only did it work, sometimes it even looked better than you thought,
you know. Exactly. So that was pretty exciting for me, and I really, you know, you think like, oh, okay, we're done, go back home, all you want to do is sleep. That's not how I am with this shoot, with any shoot I've ever done. Like, no, as soon as I get back home, I got to go through that footage, you know, because I gotta make sure I got everything and just want to see what it looks like. And that was really cool. So the fact that we were so dead tired, but we were still like, no, we gotta look at the footage, it's gonna be beautiful, you know. Like, we just had to. But yeah, that was super exciting for me, was to look back at all the footage. And, you know, I think
when is the chip, when are you guys looking to finish it, to get it out there?
Well, we're hoping fall. Jay decided I because I wanted the look of it to be different. I wanted it to look younger, I guess. I'm a more linear editor, and Jay that's cool, but I'm gonna make it cooler. I mean, you saw the trailer, and the trailer is.
I still get a feeling that the film's going to look different to the trailer. I'm seeing like a Guy Ritchie noirish kind of thing happening there.
And you know, I think Jay is a little bit sorry that he took on that role, because he's never had to. Well, okay, I'll let you explain.
Too late.
You explain
Too
it.
late.
You explain it. What?
Oh, dude. Okay, so music videos, pretty straightforward. You sync the song with the song playing in the background of the video. You get that all done, it's easy breezy from there. Just okay, now effects, transit, maybe a couple transitions, done. Oh, syncing up audio with every clip, especially when you have 7 cameras rolling. I mean,
fun.
The amount of times that I've called him
audio sources.
Oh,
6,
dude. and lav cams or lav mics, whatever they're called, that don't get shut off, and they're growing for 30 minutes, and maybe they did a take in there, maybe they didn't. Oh dear Lord. I'm sitting there going, am I doing something
for
wrong?
8 hours? We would turn those Tascam lavaliers on, and because we had to hide them, we would just take them and turn them on and just let them roll. And so, you know, I'll let you tell them which actors had those on.
Which I don't even
Which
remember,
actors had the lavs on? Okay, so
I know.
the two main people that are running the game, and I'll just use actors' names. Rhonda Williams had one of those lavs on. Sean Murphy, who's the dealer, had one of those lavs on. John Briner, who was the bodyguard, he had a lav, and then the bartender, Aislinn Fortune, had a lav on. And so we would put those lavs on because we'd tape the lavs to their clothing or under their collars or whatever. And because we had to hide them, we would just turn the lavs on, hit record, and because it was, you know, it's audio, it doesn't take up even a fourth of what video does. And then we just let it go, whether they were shooting or not. Because if we had to like stop and turn it off and start it again every time, it was such a chore. It was just easier then.
I feel like such a little bitch, because I feel like I'm complaining about it so much. And I'm like, I told him one time, I'm like, I asked him, I said, I have to be doing this wrong. Is it supposed to take this long? Like, I'm like, okay, I have 2 hours set aside for today. Those entire 2 hours is spent finding audio for 2 different video clips. I'm like, am I doing something wrong here? Like, oh my God. And it's like, don't get me wrong. Like, once I find it and then I start editing, it's totally fine. I got this. I love editing. It's
pretty fast. His editing capabilities are off the chain.
Like, once it's there, I've got it. Like, but finding that's the hardest part for me, is finding stuff. And then we had some issues where we're like, oh wait, we didn't put the audio back, you know, didn't put it on the hard drive and stuff like that. So I'm just like, but I could have sworn we had this. No, we didn't. I don't know. But it's super funny, and it's definitely a learning curve. But I feel like, you know, learning
is good.
Sometimes
it's very different. You know, even if you look at the same time frame, if you have like a 5-minute music video and a 5-minute short film, it's completely different process, because you have to get all those, you know, the good takes, you know, where the actors did it right, where it doesn't look, you know, terrible, and the sound is right. And my favorite, what some people don't realize, is sometimes in editing, we take the best visual take that we have of the actor, but sometimes we actually use sound from a different take and put it on top of that and match it somehow. They don't realize that. It's like he said it almost the same way, but the intonation was slightly off, you know, in that take that we want. We found the sound that matches it and somehow worked it in. People don't realize that there's so much. It's pretty intricate sometimes. But with a music video, you don't have that. So it's like,
no, like, unless it has, like, you know, we had that with this last one I did, where it had like a skit in the beginning and the end. And so, like, okay, yeah, you have a couple of takes for that. But even then, I mean, the skit's only like maybe a minute long. So it doesn't, once you get past that, it's just smooth sailing for me. Because that's where I shine, is the actual, like, music video editing, like, music part of the song. But yeah, no, I know I can definitely get what you're saying with that, because I'm learning it as we go along with editing the chip. And yeah, it's gonna be badass though. Like, I know, like, I'm just kind of sitting here pissing and moaning a little bit, but I know at the end of the day it's gonna be pretty
but
rad.
that's what we do. That's part of what we do. Part of, as filmmakers, we get to piss and moan about oh God, this is dragging on forever. Oh my God, it's and then at some point you just get this burst of energy. And then next thing you know, you are on a roll. You are editing like a flipping madman. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah. Hit that space bar.
Dude, for real. And you get so like engrossed in what you're doing. Like for me, the whole world disappears when I edit, and
all
I
of a
feel
sudden
like
you're Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind.
exactly just like in it, nothing else matters. And then I remember like, oh, I'm a human being who has to go to the bathroom sometimes. Oh, I'm a human being and we are required to like eat at least, 2-3 meals a day. Like, hey, you're hungry. Like, and I forget to do basic things because I'm so in my world. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, my bladder is completely full. Like, I should go to the bathroom. Okay, but I'll do it after this scene. And then I'm sitting here like, really good to go, but no, I gotta finish this up. Like, it's just, you get in that world and just nothing can distract me from it.
Because when you have momentum, if you let go of that, you might not find it again.
Exactly.
And that's why sometimes we work on a project and it's like, oh, holy shit, it's morning already, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You go, oh, I forgot to sleep. But I was on a roll. I couldn't go to sleep. I had to finish this. It's like,
well, and I always
that's the life.
That kind of thing. I always go back to The Shining when Jack is typing and doing that, and Shelley Duvall shows up, and she goes, "Hi, hon, how are you?" And he's like, "Good." Maybe I can come back later and bring a couple of sandwiches. You can let me read. Let me tell you something.
dude,
let me tell you something. You understand that when you come in here, you're interrupting me, you're distracting me. And then I have to, and then it takes time for me to get back in and do what I'm doing. And people don't, it's real. It's is real.
We're constantly one step away from picking up that axe.
Every time.
Here's Johnny. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So that is about the end of our chat here with Jay Braley. Jay, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you at? And also, Jay has another side business, which I have been plugging periodically on this show because of buttons. So tell everybody where they can find you, and then talk about your other business that you have with your wife called The Dork Spot.
Okay, well, on Instagram, you can find me just at Gray's Multimedia. Same on Facebook, just type in Gray's Multimedia. You'll see it come up. Same on YouTube. And then my website is jbraley.wix.com/Gray's Multimedia. And the Dork Spot is actually my wife's business. I am just a little helper elf. So what we basically do is we knit, hand knit beanies. We make pins. Yeah, we make a lot of pins. We just started offering the 2.5-inch pins. More traditionally, we make 1-inch button pins. Yeah, Beetlejuice! It's the same one. But yeah, so that's her main business. We're on Etsy. Hey, damn the man, save the empire. But you can just look us up on Etsy, The Dork Spot. And yeah, so that's my wife's business, and I am but a little helper elf.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You got some music videos coming up soon, like we released?
Yes. So currently, right now, I believe I have 2 unreleased music videos. One is coming out next month. It's by the band We Are Makers. And the other one does not have a release date just yet, but it's by a band called Rare Hearts. So I'm pretty stoked for those to come out. These were
Cool.
definitely one of some of my most favorite ones I've done to date, and always keep on the lookout because there's a lot more coming. I'm pretty excited about it.
And the lighting is awesome.
Looking forward to seeing those. And as we talked about before, the chip coming out around fall.
September, October, around there.
Looking forward to that.
Oh, one more thing. This summer, Jay and I are doing a collab. I'm going out to California for a week, and we are going to be shooting a Fight Club style music video. Fight Club mixed with Raging Bull.
Yep. So that's
But the first rule about this music video is we don't talk about this music video. And the second rule about that one is we don't talk about.
So yeah, he just sent me location photos the other day. So yeah, watch for that.
It's gonna be fire.
Fire.
The Braley brothers, but the
Braley bunch.
The Braley bunch. Oh my God, we need shirts. We need buttons made of that.
There you go. There's your next job.
The Braley bunch.
The Braley bunch. We used to.
I don't know how that's never come up before.
I don't know either.
It has when we were younger. It was before you were born, Jay. We were called the Braley Bunch by Tom and Carolyn Klein.
That makes sense. That sounds like
people used to sing the song, the Braley Bunch, the Braley Bunch. So
put a trademark on that quick.
Yeah, I know. Right? So
and people will go, "What is that? Like the Brady Bunch?" No, it's like the Wild Bunch.
Yes, with cameras. All right. Well, Ty, let everybody know about where they can find us.
They can find us where we tell them to. They can find us on YouTube, the Straight Shooters channel. They can find us on Facebook. We have a page up there, and also a dedicated page on maindyproductions.com. Every time we release a video, it's also featured on the homepage on maindyproductions.com. We have like a big
and we have an Instagram showcase. That is Straight Shooters Show.
Yep,
on Instagram.
And that one, and that one, I have to say, is all Todd. I barely touch Instagram, just not enough time. But yeah,
Instagram's a lot of work.
Social media is a lot of work, but yeah,
social media is a lot of work.
We'll go to any and all of those places to find us. We'll be there.
Yep. All right.
So don't forget, everybody. When you get there, subscribe, like, share, comment.
Yep.
Give us your suggestions and requests of what you want to see next. You know, whether it's reviews, music videos, interviews, whatever you want to see. Let us know, and we will do our best to comply.
I very, very much agree with that. And so thanks again, Jay Braley of Gray's Multimedia, for joining us today. And thank you guys for watching. And we appreciate you all out there. And we will see you next time on the Straight Shooter Show. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again. Next time.
we'll probably be back about 10:30. She's already ate. So everything's fine.
Okay, and it's okay if Jill comes over?
Yeah, oh, I don't care. But just Jill, nobody else, no drinking.
Okay.
You guys be good. You be good for...
Call us if you need us. Okay. Bye, Mr. and Miss Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Bye. Could you sit in my room?
Okay, sweet. It's time to go to bed now. There you go. Okay, go sleep now, okay?
I want my Molly Dolly.
What's a Molly Dolly?
It's right there on the chair.
Freaky. Relax. Here's your Molly Dolly. Good night, sweetheart. How'd that get in here?
I want my Molly Dolly. I want my Molly Dolly. I want my Molly Dolly.
Okay, alright.
I want my Molly Dolly.
Alright! Now what?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, what's up?
Not much. I have to tell you something.
Shh, the baby's asleep.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, so he said today. Man, that was messed up.
I know, I would never let that happen.
Well, it's almost 9. I gotta get home. I still got some homework. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for stopping by.
Okay, you're welcome.
See ya. Hello? Is anybody there? Hi, how'd everything go? Wonderful, she was an angel. Good. Here you go. Thanks. Yeah, you drive safe, okay?
We'll call you Friday.
See ya. Bye.